Black. Hello everyone, my name is Punk Rock Squirrel, and today I just kind of wanted to make a video just talking about some things that were on my mind, mainly the state of game collecting in 2026. We are halfway through the year 2026, and I thought it would be cool to kind of just talk, just an old school kind of YouTube video, just talking about whatever, maybe with some edits thrown in there, and I'm going to be playing Tony Hawk while I do it, so hopefully that goes well. I got my audio being recorded right here, so I'm going to have to literally sync the audio up with my gameplay, but so yeah, so game collecting. What is game collecting? Well, if you have to you have to have a YouTuber tell you, I don't know, it might not be good for you. Sorry, buddy. Nah, but for real, game collecting is the hobby or pastime of collecting video games, mainly with the idea of preservation in mind. However, there could be, there might be a lot of reasons why someone might want to collect some games or hold on to them. But, so what's it like? What's it like in 2026? Well, it's not good. It's not good, everyone. Well, first let's talk about where game collecting was about a decade or two ago, because game collecting was not as game collecting wasn't always as stinky as it is now. We'll call it. Oh fuck, that was not good. That was not good. I fucked that melon up so hard. I fucked that melon. Anyway. But yeah. So, I remember about 10 years ago when I was a lot younger and still in middle school, I saw a video from Peanut Butter Gamer where he talked about Goodwill games, or games that he found at a Goodwill. We didn't have any Goodwills where I was, so I didn't know necessarily what he was talking about. Can you wall plant? You cannot wall plant in this one. Okay, silly me. So, I remember I saw a video from Peanut Butter Gamer, and he made a passing comment that kind of caught my attention.
Once upon a time, you could walk into a thrift store and find some really cool stuff, like a boxed copy of Donkey Kong 64 or a random NES gem or anything good at all.
And seeing that clip kind of astounded me, because I had been a big fan of the Angry Video Game Nerd, and of course, years and years and years ago, as a kid, seeing that game room just filled with all sorts of games and everything like that, that was amazing. That was something cool, and I always kind of wanted that. But yeah, just the idea that you could potentially go into any thrift store in the world, about a decade or two ago, well, even more than a decade, so yeah, probably 2 decades ago, and you could just find all these retro games for super cheap. Now, take this with a grain of salt, because I just turned 24, so obviously I have not been a game collector for that long. I've been collecting games for we'll call it about 5 years now, 5 years. So I am speaking from what other people have experienced, so not my own experiences, for the most part, but we'll get to that. So hearing all these people talk about how, you could just find all these retro games that, at the time weren't worth anything. No one was placing value on these things. Oh, that was... did not mean to clip through the sign there, but that's okay. Yeah, you can just kind of cheese it a little bit. Unless you suck, then no cheese for you. But it was just kind of crazy to hear that, and it got my curiosity piqued as to thrift stores around there. Now, obviously, like I said, I was in middle school, so I couldn't really drive myself, and my parents didn't really have the best views of thrift stores. They definitely thought they were too good to go to the thrift store. So, once I got my license, I was hitting up a lot of the thrift stores in the area, and by the time that I was finally able to drive myself to these stores, I realized
there's nothing. Thank you, son.
No, there are not boxed copies of Donkey Kong 64 just waiting for me. There is not Little Samson on the NES just sitting there for 50 cents. Little Samson's so fucking stupid. What the hell? What? Hold on. Let's try that again. Oh, don't do drugs. Good advice, I suppose. Hold on. Watch. Hold on. I gotta redeem myself with that one. Hold on. Let's fix that. Go up and over here. Ah, fuck. But yeah, there was not all these great games. At most, you would be finding like Call of Duty. That was kind of the highlight. And it kind of hit me that all the real gold to be found was at video game stores. So I guess that kind of segues nicely into the topic of retro game stores. And kind of from what I could tell, they were not as common in the early 2000s. But there still were some. Maybe I'm wrong on that fact, and someone can correct me and be like, "Oh, they were kind of everywhere." Oh, sorry. Sometimes I get a little too concentrated. Maybe it wasn't the best idea to play Tony Hawk and talk at the same time. But you know, Wii ball. So Wii bowling. But you know, I kind of noticed all the good stuff was just at the game stores and not really at the thrift stores anymore. What the hell? Did y'all see that airtime? Oh. Come on, Mullen. Pull it back. Get your shit together. I don't give a shit about steak. So, I don't know. I guess fast forward to now, and what is game collecting like? Well, there are still deals to be found at thrift stores. There are still. I will put up pictures now of some of the stuff I have found at thrift stores that is kind of cool and kind of worth it. Hopefully I remember to put those pictures up. But, yeah, it's, you know, I think a lot of it has to do with really any hobby. Anything that involves collecting. So, you know, Pokemon cards, baseball cards, if you collect, you know, coins, I don't know. Once there becomes a market for something, once the demand gets pretty high, the prices tend to increase. So if you'll look, you know, you'll look at something like Silent Hill 3, which is now worth about $300 if you have, I think it's even more than that if you have the soundtrack with it. But, and you'll see like stickers on there from old game stores where it was being sold for $15 because no one gave a shit back then. No one gave a shit about making money off of games. And I won't name names. I will not name names. No, fuck it. I'm going to name names. Fuck you, Phoenix Resale. Fuck you in your actual asshole. Dude, assholes Uzbekistan. Yeah, no. I don't want to place the blame on people like Phoenix Resale and Retro Rick and, you know, all these other people and say it's entirely their fault that the game market is the way it is now. But they have had a hand in, you know, inflating some of the price of games or making a lot harder. Now, let's talk about the other big factor. 2020. What happened in 2020? I don't know how YouTube feels about mentioning it, but I don't care because censorship is bullshit. So obviously, 2020 happened, and the coronavirus kind of put a lot of people in their homes, and yeah, you got all these people with a lot of the free time at home, and they want to kind of pick up these older games that they had, or and at the time, the game collecting market was getting there. It was getting kind of to the point of where it is now of just being like hell, like actually hell. Obviously, the coronavirus happened, and a lot of people were stuck in their homes. So, and game stores were not physically available to go to. So that kind of led people to, you know, greedy people to be like, hey, you know, you want to play this game? Well, it's going to be, I don't know, $20, $30, $50 extra. Because the only way to get it is to go to eBay or to go to Reddit r/game sale, anything like that. Because I suck at this game. We're choosing a new level. But you'll kind of notice if you look at Price Charter and you look at the trends or the I'm trying to think what it's called, like the line graph. Price Charter will usually have some sort of a line graph that will tell you the price of a game or card or, you know, even a Funko Pop over time, and they'll let you look. And if you look at a lot of them did spike in 2020. Like I said, because people want to, you know, own these games again, and they didn't really have, you know, any means except for going through online sellers to get these games. And unfortunately, with some of these games, that just caused the prices to stay there. So they're not really going back down, and it sucks. I mean, it sucks. It really does suck. But I'm so used to being able to do a revert to keep the combo going. But that was not a thing in these older Tony Hawks. So, you know, so you have a combination of people online, you know, who want to, you know, I guess this would be a good time to talk about more in depth as to penis resale and retro dick. So, I first saw retro dick in, like, I don't know, a couple of years ago, and his whole thing was that he would start with $10. Now, this was kind of cool, I'm not going to lie. He would start with $10, and he would go into various thrift stores, pawn shops, anything, and he would buy games and try to sell them for more than he bought them for, which is, you know, cool. Look, I am not going to knock someone's hustle, okay? Look, if you find a copy of Little Sam, I hate to keep bringing up Little Samson, but it's the first thing that comes to mind when I think of expensive. Okay, we'll go for something different. If you find God Hand in a thrift store for like $2, I'm not going to knock you if you want to sell it and try to get even more out of that, because people are paying insane prices for that game. But you know, Retro Rick, I don't even have that much of an issue with him at this point. You know, because he's got his own physical store that he operates out of, and he's got other things that, like, you know, make him money. Like, video gaming is not his main money maker, as far as I know. He may have fully switched, and now he's, like, you know, completely in the market, but Retro Rick, there is at least some sort of passion there. Phoenix Resale, I feel like there is no passion towards game collecting. There's no passion towards preserving these games. It is simply all about how can I make a quick buck, even if it's $2 extra. And the thing is, the man has no shame. The man has completely gone the I don't want to say he's completely gone the Nikocado avocado route of just like being completely fine with the fact that people hate him, because he is fine. If you look, whenever he's going to a convention, if there's anything written about him on the website, it is usually negative, and he knows that. He knows he is disliked, he knows he is hated, and he does not care. And that is what bugs me the most about him, because you get one chance at life and you're completely fine with just like this I don't know if he has a humiliation fetish or what, but, you know, I'm not here to kink shame. But, oh shoot. Hold on, I'm kind of goated. Now, the big question is, did these two ruin the hobby? No, absolutely not. There's many things that have made game collecting what it is now. So what do I say? What do I mean when I say what game collecting is now? What I mean is paying $500 plus for a game called Cubivore. Paying $1,000 plus for Disney Sports Basketball, arguably one of the worst games on the system. And people are paying these prices. People are paying $1,000 for Disney Sports Basketball. It is a dog shit game. It is terrible. And people are paying these prices. Why? Because I don't know. I genuinely don't know. Well, I may have some semblance of an idea, part of it is people want to go for complete collections of like systems or, you know, a certain series of games. So if you have a game, so like let's say Disney Sports Basketball is a rare game. It's extremely hard to find, and you may only see it once every couple of years. Okay, fine. It's still not a good game. It is a terrible, terrible game. But yet people don't care because they want to complete their collection. And unfortunately, that's just kind of how it is. And look, like, you know, that's always been my thing, is collect what you want to collect. I personally think going for a complete collection of a console's library, unless it's like the Virtual Boy or the Wii U, where you literally don't have that many games to collect. I do have a friend who is going for the complete North American Wii U collection, which means he will have to pick up Devil's Third at some point. He will have to pick up Devil's Third, and I'm waiting for that day. But yeah, no, like you can have some complete bangers of games, right? Like I'm thinking off the top of my head, God of War, the God of War series on PS2. I'm a PS2 girly at heart, so God of War. Those games don't, like on the first two on the PS2, like you could maybe pick the both of them up for less than $30. And those are some great, like fantastic games that you will have like hours of fun. Disney Sports Basketball, you will have no fun whatsoever. It's almost like you're playing Halo Infinite. Shots fired. Again, it's a lot of factors that make game collecting how it is. And hold on, let me make sure my audio is still recording. Yeah, I don't know. The game collecting sucks in 2026, absolutely. But I'm not going to lie, you can still go to thrift stores and find some really good deals. The unfortunate fact of the matter is you are now having to compete with people almost. You are having to compete. I have been several times in thrift stores, you know, lately, because I do like to frequent thrift stores. I go to thrift stores for a lot. I go to thrift stores for my clothes. I go to thrift stores for, you know, well, that's really it. That's really it. I'm more into going to actual game stores now to hunt for my games, but I do like to pick up movies at thrift stores too. You can find a lot of good stuff. I found a Larry Clark film I had never heard of. Larry Clark, of course, being the director of Kids. And that's all I'm going to say about that. But yeah, no, it's I don't know. Game collecting is just I don't want to say it's permanently messed up. I do believe there will be some sort of a crash eventually. I do believe that all these games will go down in price and they will all be worthless. The most I have ever spent on a game is probably $100. When I got my copy of Silent Hill 2, my complete in box, no scratches, no blemishes on the box, everything. Oh, that's another thing we got to talk about. The condition of games. Again, let's go back to Disney Sports Basketball. Loose. That game is worth roughly $300. Loose meaning it is just the disc only. Complete. That's where it's worth about over $1,000. Why? Because people want it for their collections. People aren't looking to play this game. If they were looking to play this game, they would, you know, if this were like a really good game that people were looking to play, like, again, the Silent Hill franchise. If you look, the Silent Hill games, there's not a huge discrepancy, like, between a loose copy and a complete in box copy, because people still want to play these games. These are amazing games that should be played, and hopefully I'll be able to start playing Silent Hill 2 soon, because I do want to replay that game. That game is amazing. But yeah, I mean, you kind of have a lot of factors to consider, because now you're having to compete with people, and so, you know, people care about the condition of their games. You know, loose games are usually going to be less, usually. I can't think of an instance where a complete in box copy is worth less than a loose copy, but maybe I'm wrong. But So, and now I think this would be a good time to talk about the grading system of games. Once you see a grading system get introduced, and people start grading their games and treating them like they're, just things to look at or art or whatever. I mean, they are art, but you know what I mean? Like, art to look at, not to play. That's when, we'll see prices really go up. Sorry if I'm scatterbrained. This is my first time recording a video like this, so just kind of wanted, but I don't know, just wanted to make a video sort of rambling and talking about, what it's like to be a game collector in 2026. Not very fun. I mean, I still collect like movies, records, issues of Mad. Mad Magazine's kind of my thing right now. Because there's not a lot of super expensive issues. But anyway, so a problem I see a lot is people, going into it with this mentality of I want to buy low and sell high. And look, if you find a game that, like, sure, Alvin and the Chipmunks on the Wii might go up in value. It might, but it's not worth just hanging on to, and keeping it in the collection and cluttering it up when you could have games that you actually are going to want to play that aren't Alvin and the Chipmunks on the Wii. On the Wii. But I don't even know what happened there. I did not press the left trigger. But, and that was kind of my thing for a while of I just wanted to hold on to every game. Just like, oh, what if this one goes up in value? And if game collecting has shown me anything, you can never, ever predict what games are going to go up. You just can't. So I want to talk about a few examples. So I think one off the top of my head, Piglet's Big Adventure. Piglet's Big Game. Piglet's Big Game. Sorry, based on Piglet's Big Adventure. Piglet's Big Movie, whatever the fuck, I don't know. So I don't even remember when, but if you look at Price Charter and you look at that graph, it'll tell you exactly when that game shot up in price. It is simply because someone posted it online and made a couple memes about it, and it got kind of famous, and then people were like, well, I want to play this game, and then sellers realized, oh, people are wanting to play this game because it's popular, it's trending right now on Instagram, TikTok, whatever the hell. And that's why we see Piglet's Big Game being sold for too much money. It is too much money for Piglet's Big Game. Another one, A Dog's Life on PlayStation 2. That's another one where some memes got made about it, and just out of nowhere, it just shot up in value. Barnyard on the PS2 and Wii, mainly the PS2 version. Someone found the cutscene or the cut like animation of a cow just squirting out milk. It is really funny, I cannot lie. But someone made that, it blew up online, and now that's why Barnyard is the price it is and not cheap like it should be. However, there are times where, something kind of makes sense. Like recently, Rock Band 4. Rock Band 4 shot up in price. And I think it was because it got like delisted from digital stores. So it's kind of the Left 4 Dead situation, Left 4 Dead, Spider-Man situation. Those are both games that were very popular, Left 4 Dead and some Spider-Man games that got delisted from online stores, making physical the only way to play those games. Now this is something else that happens a lot, is when you have a game that gets taken off digital storefronts, making physical the only way to play those games. The only legal way. Wink, wink, wink. And I feel like this is also a good time to say I don't care about emulation. I really don't. I could emulate all this stuff. I just don't feel like it. I really don't. That's what it boils down to at the end of the day. I just don't feel like emulating shit. But, you have... you'll have games that just get taken off digital storefronts, and physical is the only way to play. Like I said, Left 4 Dead. Left 4 Dead is still very popular on consoles, but the only way to play it is to own it physically. And that one, it makes sense, but Left 4 Dead isn't being, shot up to like $100+ or something. It's still around 50. I think you can still pick up a good copy for less than 50, I think. Watch me eat my words. But yeah, so it's just kind of like, I don't know. Game collecting in 2026. Are we going to see a crash sometime soon? Probably not. I don't think we're going to see any sort of a crash in the game market. I would like for it to. Which means that, all these expensive games I've bought will be worthless, but they kind of are worthless. I'm not going to lie, because it's just a bunch of plastic and a disc. That is all you're getting when you get a physical game. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll edit this together into a coherent video, and it'll be cool to watch. Maybe. All right, let's end this video with a really good combo. Here we go. Here we go. Starting off now. Here we go. Starting off now. Here we go. Starting off now. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Sprinkle the cheese. Sprinkle the cheese.
Sprinkle the cheese. Sprinkle the cheese.
It's a bit of a Chadtronic reference. I don't know. I don't know what to fill this video with. Okay, final thoughts. Game collecting. Should you get into game collecting in 2026? Absolutely. Game collecting is fun. If you're in it for the preservation. If you are in it because you want, if you have games you want to play, or, you have games that, mean a lot to you, like, for instance, the Sly Cooper franchise. I really love the Sly Cooper franchise, and I have gone out of my way to buy all the games with the little special, items that they used to include. Like, for example, Sly 2 came with a mini-map, like poster, and Sly 3 came with some 3D glasses. So, yeah, no, that, makes sense to want to collect, but overall, I think game collecting it's a brutal market. I cannot lie, because you got a lot of interesting factors at play. You got people that you're competing with at the thrift, and then just the random probability that any game could get popular. You could absolutely try and make like if you want to try and make your own memes out of a game, if you wanted to make a meme out of Nicktoons Globs of Doom on PS2 and try to get that game up to $400, go for it, I guess. Could be a fun little social experiment. But overall, yeah, I'm not going to stop game collecting. I'm not going to stop buying physical. But as of late, I've gotten pretty good about getting rid of my games and just realizing what I do and don't need. But yeah, I don't really have much else to say other than fuck you, Sony, for getting rid of physical games. Bye!
Alright. Making the pizza. Making the pizza. Sprinkle the cheese. Sprinkle the cheese. Hey, if you're looking for the best pizza, wings, subs, and salads, you need to give us a try. Eat in, take out, or deliver to your door. The huge line of specialty pizzas is second to none. And with 3 different restaurants to choose from. That's right, 3. Gang Mills, Lawrenceville, Elkland. Making the pizza. Making the pizza. So stop on down to one of 3 great locations or call us up to let our crews hook you up. Oh yeah.